What's up, my fellow legendaries? Ringquaza here, and today I have the September 1st ban list. First of all, before I say anything else, the biggest surprise with this list, guess what it is? Not that cards got more support, dragons got hit, but we're getting a new ban list December 1st, which means this one's only effective for 3 months. So we get more. Does this mean we're going to get more ban lists every year? Or are they just doing this for this year just to test out? Because they hit a lot of stuff. Because if Konami decides, heck yeah, we're going to give you more ban lists so we continually modify the meta, I'd be really happy. First up, we've got all the baby dragons were banned. So that's just some people saw it coming. The deck's basically dead with something else that's hit. Then we've got Stratos, which is banned. This is the TCG list. If you're the OCG, look up the OCG list. I can't see it, but yeah. So Stratos is banned. I don't really know why Stratos was banned. It probably has something to do with some of the other cards on the list, but it never was that. I mean, it was a good card at 1, but I guess they decided we don't want a monster Rhoda. They can just have other support cards for the deck. And then all the rest of the cards are the baby dragons and Shockmaster. Yep. I sort of saw Shockmaster coming just because everything that was coming out, people were always like, oh, this takes 3 level 4 monsters, and I'd rather run Shockmaster. Shockmaster is better than this card, this card, this card. Shockmaster was way too good of a stun card. Well, personally I like stun, but being able to say, go first turn, I auto win because you can't do anything against meta decks is pretty annoying. You go, no spells versus Fire Fists. What are they supposed to do? No monsters versus Fire Fists. What do? They can search for cards, just can't play them though. Yeah. Then we've got some hate on Dark Worlds. We've got Card Destruction banned, which hits my heart a little bit because that means I'm gonna have to modify my slushy deck pretty hard. And they hit Gateway of the Six. I'm like, thank God. I mean, some people are like, why did Gateway of the Six get hit? This card is annoying in Six Samurais. It basically means, if they have Gateway of the Six, it basically means, oh, you've got monsters? Well, I now have 5, and, like, double Shien if I want to. If you want me to go more in depth into the cards, just leave a comment down below and I'll explain them more heavily. Then Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm are banned. They're cards that have been on and off the list. Don't get rid of your copies now. I'm sure they're gonna come back soon, possibly even in December. And then there's Pot of Avarice, which is banned, it gave some decks nice consistency, like gadgets, but it was a pretty broken card. Getting 5 of your resources back and drawing 2 cards is a little OP. Next, we've got Spellbook of Judgment banned, which is no surprise to anyone. If it's a surprise to you, then you must have been living under a rock since the past ban list. And we've got Super Rejuve, which basically, between all the little dragons getting hit and Super Rejuve, no one's going to be running dragons. If you wonder what any of these cards do, just look them up. Super Rejuve is basically for every dragon you discarded at the end phase, you get to draw a card. I think one of the other reasons this got banned was in the finals of the Worlds, the guy got this, played it, and then drew into another one in his 4-card draw, and he got 8 cards off of the 2 of them. But so technically +6 off 2 spells in the end phase, which is pretty broken. Next we've got Solemn Judgment banned, which I honestly didn't like playing Solemn Judgment anymore anyway because it costs too many life points, and your life points are precious in this game. I mean, late game it's okay, but it's not worth early game 4,000 life points to stop something. And your opponent would usually Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm's gone now, which means I have to start playing Blackwings. Expect some more Blackwing update videos very shortly. And by very shortly, I mean, possibly tomorrow. Ultimate Offering is banned. I like this because it had OTKs and gadgets. I heard that there was a Madolche OTK, which if you had one card plus Ultimate Offering, it was game. Pretty much. It was just a really good card. For those who think, oh, I can only summon one monster, you can summon as many monsters as you want by paying 500 life points, and even during your opponent's battle phase, you can mess them up by dropping monsters. Then we have Atlantean Dragoons at 1. They didn't kill Mermills. They only slightly nerfed them. Unless you're playing the Undyne version of the deck, then you basically have to completely rebuild. But I like it. Dragoons at 1 basically means you can't go in, you can't search for. It's basically they're hitting like all the Rotas. Stratos is banned. Dragoons, which grabs you any of your Mermails, is banned. Well, at 1, sorry, not banned, but hit pretty hard. Yeah, they just like to do that. We didn't get Gale back to 2, which is alright, but that would have been really nice. But I guess a lot of decks like running Gale. I think it would have helped more decks than just Blackwings. Also, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Spirit is at 1. It doesn't hurt the deck as much as people do think it will, because Spirit is, first of all, they don't have to deal with Shockmaster or Heavy Storm. Second of all, you can recycle Spirit with Lion Emperor. You can go Spirit plus another guy into Lion Emperor, detach, add Spirit back to hand. It's, as long as you have another target in the grave, you can add the Spirit you detached. Deep Sea Diva was also hit to 1. I'm sort of sad because it leaves me with 3 copies of Deep Sea Diva that are now worthless. And there was a possibility they might have done this because did they bring back Trishula? I don't know if they brought back Trishula. I don't think they did. But there was a combo with Trishula where you could go Cyber Dragon plus Deep Sea Diva plus any level 2 was an instant Trishula. But as Trishula is, I'm pretty sure, still banned. Yeah, if Trishula is still banned, then it's not as viable. It basically slows down. It basically prevents you from going first turn Catastor with Deep Sea Diva and Marksman. Next we got Jax Ally Birdman at 1. I really liked this card, but it gave you a lot of OTK potential. There was the early OTK in Atlanteans. There's an OTK with Blast Fan, which allows you to go, and then there's a field spell, which lets you spam the crap out of everyone. And there was also an OTK. I can see this card being hit to 1. I sort of would rather if they've hit other stuff like the field spell of the deck or Blast Fan itself. But Birdman gave some decks, like it even gave Atlanteans, even though it's like an old OTK, they still have the potential, even though Deep Sea Diva is at 1. But they just want to Konami just wants to prevent OTKs. I can see where they're coming from. Next we've got Rescue Rabbit at 1, which I'm really sad that Neospatian Granmal didn't come back to more than 1, but it's sort of like anti-meta. It's basically a Compulse, and you'll see what they did to Compulse later. And Rescue Rabbit, well, basically you have to run 3 Sabersaurs, or if you're running the water version with Bahamut Shark, you can run like triple of the Kabazals, but the deck's not as consistent as it was. You basically have to just run 3 dinos, and you can only make either Dolker or Lagia once. Next, we have Thunder King Ray at 1, which makes me happy I didn't pick up more than 1. This basically prevents. They're pretty much destroying the stun cards, and Ryo was sort of. Well, it was like a bad version of. It was just like a normal summon version of Shockmaster. It prevented your opponent from searching for cards, even though they hit most of the stuff that searches for cards, but they hit one of the cards that prevents searching. I guess they assumed now that decks like Dragoons and Stratos have been hit, they want to make sure, they want to allow those decks to search for cards. They don't want to be like, oh, you're 1 Dragoon's chance? Well, I have Thunder King Ryo on board, so there's nothing you can do. Then we have Mine August at 1. I don't know exactly what this did. I think Mine August was the big attacker, which, like, destroyed a monster. I think Gust Kraken was the guy that, burned for. No, it's the one that discard cards from the hand. I'd actually have someone to explain what Evagitsuki Mine August does. I'm not really sure. DeLorean got bumped to 1. There were some mermails that run DeLorean, and it was apparent. I heard it was pretty broken. Honestly, I think Gungnir's 100 times better than DeLorean. But now Deep Sea Diva got hit. Gungnir isn't that great. So, yeah, I can see it at 1. Then we've got Constellar M7 at 1. Most decks only ran 1 of it unless you were playing Constellars. I guess they wanted to nerf Constellars a little bit since they hit Fire Fist a tiny bit. And all the meta decks have been slowed down. Well, the meta decks of the last format. The next decisions were the next couple decisions were smart. Well, D-Fisher's at 1. I don't like that D-Fisher's at 1, but I think Macros is also at 1. Let me check. Yeah, Macrocosmos is also at 1. So, D-Fisher. This basically, it was a nice anti-meta card. I'm not happy that it went, but I'm not happy that it's really at 1, but I guess if they banned card destruction, they consider, well, we don't want 6 cards that shut down Dark World. That's a little over the top. So, 1 D-Fisher, 1 Macro, that's not that bad. I mean, most people are only side decking 3 D-Fishers anyway. I was running 2 D-Fishers and 2 Macro, but I guess I can get rid of my extra D-Fishers and Macro now. Now they bumped Gold Shark to 1. I'm not really sure why they did this. They already hit everything in Dragons pretty hard. I guess this is just so decks don't, like Gustav Max, like any deck that needs one certain condition to win. They won't be like, oh, so you have multiple basically have 3 copies of Thunder King Ryo in the deck if you run 2 Gold Sark. But you just have to wait turns for it. It's not that bad. If you really want a card like Gold Sark, you can go for, there's another spell that it has like a sarcophagus on the front, but you play it and then you banish a card face down so your opponent doesn't get to see what it is, and then after 2 turns you add it to your hand. It's basically like Gold Sark, except if they MST Gold Sark. I mean, Gold Sark is already off the field and used, whereas the other card, if they MST it, then it's gone. You don't get the effect. And I don't know if the monster you banish gets flipped face up, or if you can use it, or if it's just you can't use it for the rest of the duel. Next, Royal Tributes hit to 1. Gravekeepers were annoying as is. They were sort of anti-meta. I'm happy they don't have multiple ways. I mean, they already had 6 Necro Valleys, so all they needed was a Royal Tribute and one of their either Necro Valleys or Commandant, which searches for Necro Valleys, and a set Spy, and that was basically, well, you have monsters in your deck? Well, not anymore. Then we've got Bottomless Trap Hold of 1. I guess they're just getting rid of, like, removal cards, because Bottomless is at 1, Compulse is at 1, Epidemic Virus is at 1, and we already talked about Macrocosmos at 1. Eradicator Epidemic Virus is at 1 because Crazy Box was a bit annoying, and Dark Worlds had so many possibilities. I mean, freaking 1 Dark World in hand, Grap and Grave, and a set. Eradicator means, well, Eradicator. Now I hit any spells that you had in your deck, which is basically the only way decks can work. Then, so I'm happy that they hit Eradicator. Also, it gave plays with Crazy Box, which was easy to make in a lot of decks. So I understand where they're coming from. And they hit Soldier in the 1. I guess they're considering they hit most of the decks that have effects that activate in the grave. You can have 1 for your Mermail matchup, but they could have left it at 2, to be honest. And Transmigration Prophecy, I'm not 100% sure why this was limited, but it was a little while ago, so don't need to go into it. Torrential Tributes at 1. It was basically an extra Dark Hole. Two extra Dark Holes. I understand why it's at 1. They're basically getting rid of the Mass Destruction cards. And they're saying, well, I understand why Bottomless is at 1. They're like, you're not going to have 2 Bottomless if Rescue Rabbit's at 1. Next, we've got Mizuki and Plague Spreader, which are both back to 2. which make zombies and vampires much more viable. I like this. I mean, Plague Spreader wasn't doing anything for the metagame because it's basically a -1. You return a card in your hand at the top of the deck, unless you're running frickin' Reversal Quiz, which is this random ass spell card where you reveal the top card of your deck. You call the top card of your deck. You reveal it. If you called it right, then you and your opponent swap life points. Except you have to discard all cards in your hand and destroy all cards on your side of the field to use it. But if you had another Plague Spreader, or you had a Mizuki in your grave, you could get another monster on board. I mean, it does destroy your Plague Spreader, and Plague Spreader gets banished, but you might be able to do some other shenanigans. Next week, TG Striker's back to 2. There isn't even anything to say about TG Striker except TG Stun is a possibility now. I like that. I've always liked Stun, like I said earlier. But yeah, TG Striker's at 2. So all you people who were like, oh, why didn't they bring TG Striker back? There you go. There's our TG Striker. Next, Tanky's at 2, which means they also didn't bring back Bestiary, which means they actually, instead of helping Gladiator Beasts, they hurt it a tiny bit, even though, honestly, I was only running 2 Tankies in the deck anyway. This is basically hitting Constellars a little bit. They're like, Road is at 1. Tanky doesn't need to be at 3. I mean, if Dark Holes, if Heavy Storm's not there, Fire Fists are basically going to be able to go ham. They still have a lot of benefits. Does anyone know why Magical Stone Excavation is still at 2? Is there like a reason for that, or I'm just wondering. Let me know in the comment section below. Deep Prisons at 2. They're basically getting rid of all the heavy trap decks, except for frickin' burn decks. The bane of my existence, now that I don't have Shockmaster. Now I have to go run frickin' what's that card that our side deck? Dace Wombat? Yeah, Dace Wombat. Let's run the triple Dace Wombat in our side decks. Most of these cards on the list don't have too much of an impact, except a couple of them do. D-Hero Malicious is at 3, does this mean this commander might come back to 1 soon? Probably not. But it wasn't really that excellent. You can synchro with it, I guess, but there's no real way to get 2... Tell me a deck that can get 2 level 6 on boards like that. Guess Heretics, even run Heretic, Destiny Heroes. It's really not going to be able to make strike bounds that easily. Next, you've got Magen of Mystery Earth. Earth deserved to come back to 3. Most people weren't running 3 Earth anyway. So, there's the Earth. Tsukiyomi, that's going to do absolutely nothing for the metagame. I'm sorry, it just isn't. You waste your normal summon to set a card on the field. That's only good if you have heavy trap cards, and trap cards aren't that heavy. You cut down on some of the best trap cards, so I actually have to modify all my decks because they hit staples and stuff. Next, they brought A Hero Lives and Ecol back to 3, which basically I now understand why Stratos has been hit, because they gave them pay half your life points, special summon any elemental hero. That was only really good with Stratos. Bringing out Stratos, getting something in your hand. There was a Bubble Beat OTK with it a while back. Now that you don't have Stratos, it's not as good. Ecol is at 3. Yeah, you exchanged your Stratos for another Ecol, because A Hero Lives isn't that great unless you have no cards in your hand and on your side of the field and you play A Hero Lives. And then you special summon Bubble. No, you don't get to draw cards off Bubble Man either, because I'm pretty sure you have to use his special summon from the hand effect to draw the cards. Next we've got Black Whirlwind! Yeah! Woo! Black Whirlwind's back to 3. Time to build Blackwings. And they've got Icarus Attack, which is basically the Torrential Tribute that's not at 1. Maybe I can run some Cock-a-doodle-doo in the deck. Maybe more Winged Beast tuners, and I'm sorry, but really, that's a possibility. I'm going to be running 2 to 3 Icarus Attacks, and I might even run that Blackwing card, which is basically a Dark Hole if you have 3 a Heavy Storm if you have 3 Blackwings on the field, or a trap version of Heavy Storm if you have 1 Blackwing. You can use it from your hand if you have 3. You can use it from your side of the field if you had 2. There's plenty of cards to run instead of Heavy Storm. You can run Malevolent Catastrophe when your opponent declares an attack. Activate this card when your opponent declares an attack. Destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. You've got Icarus Attack. You've got the Delta Crow or whatever in Black Wings. Pretty good. Then they brought back Convocation back to 3, which I don't really like because, I guess they're like, yeah. We're gonna give them their Heretic Seal, but there's triple Scapegoat now, so it's not going to really help them as much as it would if Scapegoat was at 1 and you had to be like really lucky. Then Pot of Duality is off the list. I don't even understand why it was semi-limited to begin with. It was a fair card. It had some heavy restrictions on it. Special summoning is basically the entire game. If people wanted to run 3 Pot of Duality, they're probably playing Gladiator Beasts or something. Like me. And then Scapegoat's back to 3. Yay! Triple Scapegoat. Makes up for my Diva being hit to 1 in my Double Strike deck. So guys, again, this is only our ban list until December 1st. No, the end of December. Sorry. I thought it was December 1st, but it's just somewhere in December. So it's 4. I think that means, do you guys think that every 4 months we're going to get a new ban list? Or, what do you think? Do you think Black Wings are going to be as overpowered as I think they are? Or do you think they're just going to be meh? And, again, let me know what your thoughts on the ban list, what cards you would have liked to see that weren't hit, and cards that you're sad they got hit. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is Rank Bosses, signing out. Peace, YouTube.